Probox TV, as always, they're always putting out bangers, entertaining shows, entertaining fights. This one was no different. Let's talk about the main first, and then I'm gonna get into a guy that I'm personally looking forward to seeing. Ruben Aguilar won his fight against was it Luis Lopez? I think his name is. Yeah, he was just a buzzsaw, throwing tens of punches every round, landing a ton of power shots and such. He has a big flaw though, and that's he's easily hit straight shots. Literally, as Luis Lopez, he was landing his jab at will pretty much. Every time he threw it, it landed. So I feel like Ruben Aguilar, he's a pretty good boxer. He has I mean he's a fun fighter for sure. He's gonna be good to watch for sure, but other than that, I think his skills are they're lacking. They're lacking a bit. Again, he's a fun fighter to watch, but skill wise, he's not really that impressive. He's like Rafael Espinoza, just maybe a tier below, maybe two tiers below a Rafael Espinoza. Maybe because Rafael Espinoza does get hit, but he fights just like him pretty much. Um, in the welterweight division, I think he's like 6 foot if I'm not mistaken. Um, when I'm looking at his scorecard or his box rec, they have him as 6 foot. So he's a little bigger than most welterweights, I guess. But some welterweights are gonna get into that 6 foot range. So it's not like his style is gonna be good against other opponents. Um, I think he needs to work a lot on his defense for sure because he's mainly a hook guy. He's mainly a hook type of guy. Again, and his shots are mostly power shots. He's gonna learn how to use that jab here and there, so, especially as he's going up against more better opponents. I mean, this guy Luis Lopez was a little bit of a test because Lopez has been in there with some other tough guys. So it's good that he stopped him. He was able to force a corner retirement. So that's good that he was able to stop him like that. However, a guy who's more technically sound. Again, like I said, Luis Lopez was landing the jab at will pretty much. Any straight shots, especially not that I recommend it, but you can probably catch and shoot this guy and just knock him out clean out. I mean, he has a pretty good chin, so maybe not clean out, but you could definitely um light this kid up. To be honest with you, again, he's a fun fighter, but not the like a needle in a haystack or whatever. This is the second time I've seen him fight. The first time I've seen him fight was against my guy Ricardo Salas, which was a draw. He was able to drop Salas twice in the second round, I think. In the second round, but Salas came back and dropped Aguilar in the fifth. I remember watching that fight. That was a really good fight as well. If you haven't seen that fight, I recommend it. Ricardo Salas um, got announced for the Zuffa show, so I will definitely be watching that. I have a video coming out for that. But yeah, other than Ricardo Salas, I guess Luis Lopez would be his most notable opponent and win because he's been fighting in the Mexican circuit pretty much. I don't know which promoter he's with. He said his I guess it's who is it? I'm looking at the people. Okay, so at first he was with Fernando Beltran, who I think is a he's Zamfer. So he was with Zamfer Promotions, but it looks like now he's with Samson Lukowitz. So I'm assuming that's his promoter for now. Samson Lukowitz. He was with Zamfer before, so I guess he changed or whatever. Good for him. I guess we're gonna be seeing him pro box from now on, which is good because he's gonna get better opponents. He's not gonna get this type of opponents here like all the time if he was still with Zamfer. So he's gonna get better opponents. He's gonna get in 50-50 fights hopefully, and hopefully he improves in his skills because from what I've seen he could Probably not again. Probably not knockout because it looks like he has a pretty good chin, but he can get hurt. You know, he can get hurt in there. Um, but he's a fun fighter, fun little fighter. I think I think he can do pretty well. I can definitely see him in a lot of fun fights. That's for sure. Um, the co-main was Eduardo. Sorry, Edward Vasquez. In another good performance by him at 130. You know, he's been in the road here and there. Some people thought he got robbed against Ray Ford and who was the other guy? Joe Cordina, I think. He fought both guys. Many people thought he won both fights. To be honest with you, I haven't seen both fights, so I can't really comment on it. But people said he got robbed, so fair enough if that's true. And recently, I don't know if this was his recent fight, but the last time I saw him was him getting stopped by Rafael Espinoza. A fight which I thought he was really unfortunate in because Rafael Espinoza, I don't know if he brought him down or Top Rank brought him down, but at that point in time, Vasquez was a 130 pounder. This fight was at 130, and at the time of him fighting Espinoza, he was a 130 pounder. But they brought him down to 126. Not ideal for him at all. He he was big for that weight already, or like he at least you know wasn't at his best at that weight no more, and he got outgunned pretty much. He got beat up that fight, and he was stopped by Espinoza. You know, it was just unfortunate. But here he is back, and he looks good at 130. I thought his punch variation and such, body shots and all that looked really good. Yeah, he's a good fighter at 130, and he gave the fact that he was able to give tough fights to Raymond Ford and Joe Cordina. You know, those are two former title holders. You know, so if you're given the impression that people think you won those fights, then you're gonna give a lot of trouble to a lot of guys. And so, good job on his win, on his stoppage win. I think I don't know who he could fight. Let me just check the rankings real quick, um, or around his weight class, real quick on who he could fight next. I'm assuming he'll be on like Probox more, but let's see. Um, oh man, it's gonna be a lot to look through. Um, I'm not good at matchmaking, so I don't know. I'm scrolling through. I just see a bunch of names. I don't know who we could fight next. Maybe um Luis Alberto Lopez, because I'm looking through here and apparently he's at 130 now. I guess he's not at featherweight no more. If Luis Alberto Lopez, if he's at featherweight now, 130, or sorry, super featherweight now at 130 pounds, then definitely make that fight. Then that's a good fight, especially because Lopez hasn't. He's had two pretty much tune-up fights, two comeback fights, pretty much. This would be a good fight to go back into the limelight. You know, it's a good fight, especially because I mean he was with Top Rank, but those two tuna fights he had were like on random Mexican shows. So I don't know if like he's still with Top Rank. I mean, I know Top Rank obviously they haven't had any shows, but I haven't seen Top Rank promote his fights as well. So um, that's a good fight right there for both guys. I would say for both guys, that's a good fight right there. But good job on him getting the win back. And I wanted to speak on this prospect right here that they had on the undercard, Amador Mendez. I'm shouting this guy out because this guy is Guatemalan, and we represent Guatemala here. We want the best for all Guatemalan talent, and this guy looked good as well. I thought his defense was really good. His offense was really good. How good is your defense if you can't throw punches? I didn't count the punches, but the stats showed that his opponent landed like less than 10 punches each round. His defense, the offense to defense was amazing. I thought he's a really fast guy, fast hands. He's not like a one punch type of guy, but that's because he's not throwing with power. He's throwing for speed and to land. Maybe he could throw with power more, but I think his style right now is really good. Again, his defense is good. If you can have good defense while you're throwing punches, then your future is bright because the number one thing in boxing is your offense. All right, punching. You gotta know when to punch, how to punch, and you're gonna do well in a fight. And if you can punch your opponent and block, slip, make them pay with their own punches, then you're gonna go good. You're gonna go good. Even if it's against a bum, you know. To be fair, yeah, he's a prospect. He's gonna fight bums. But if you're doing it against bums and you're doing it over and over again, then the repetition, you're gonna get it imprinted into your brain, and you're gonna be able to do it against higher level guys, and when you step up and fight those type of guys. So he's doing good. I think he's gonna improve good as well, especially on these Probox card as well. Hopefully we see him again very soon because he didn't take damage. Again, the guy he fought barely landed any punches on him, and he was there. He was there, like throwing some heat. So hopefully they can get him on the card soon. Um, if you wanna make that connection, man, like I said before, he's Guatemalan. Why don't you put him on a Lester Martinez on the card? That makes sense to me. Maybe because with different managers or something, but who cares? Put him on a Lester Martinez on the card. So you can get this guy more fans. Mendez, you can get this guy more fans by saying, "Oh, he's another Guatemalan right here, a young Guatemalan." I think he's let me check the weight class. This guy was in real quick. Because if I'm not mistaken, I think he's like 140. He's 21 years old, by the way, or 20. He's 20 years old, so very young kid, very young kid. Um, this fight was at he weighed in at 136. And he's fought the lowest he's fought was at what does it look like? The lowest he's fought was at 135 and a half. So I'm assuming once he starts getting up in the ranks, he'll fight at 130 fully because when you're young in your career, you pretty much just fight at catch weights. You don't fight at the full weight limit. But then once you get up, maybe you pick up a regional title or whatever, then you start fighting at real weight classes. So I would assume 135 is his weight class. 140, 135, 140 is what he's gonna fight at. So this guy, his future is bright. He I wouldn't say the goods, but he's looking pretty good in there, I would say. So that was the show from Probox. It was a good show as always. Again, Probox putting up some good shows, some good fights. The next show is like Najee Lopez against uh, Gallegos. So that's a good fight right there. And then after that is Lester Martinez getting his WBC interim title shot. Expect videos like that. I mean, I already said we represent Guatemala here, so of course I'm gonna put out a video telling you guys why Lester Martinez is gonna win that fight. So be prepared for that. Pretty much. See you later, man. Like, subscribe, comment, all that stuff. See you later.